Stocks and Bitcoin are on sale. Should you be buying? Should you be waiting? Should you be selling? Let's take a look. Hey and welcome to today's video. My name is Julian. On my channel, it's all about making you crypto fit. We discuss the beautiful world of decentralization, blockchain, cryptocurrencies, most of all Bitcoin. Every once in a while, we discuss general investment topics. And this is a topic I want to cover today. And actually, many of you have been writing, hey Julian, can you make some more English videos, not only German ones? And so yes, if you ask so nicely, then I will. And I hope you get some massive value out of this. Now, some of you might know I'm an avid investor. I invest in a lot of different things. Now, obviously, many people know me from investing in cryptocurrencies, but actually I invest in real estate, in stocks, in bonds, in gold. Literally, I like long-term investing, and obviously I like to make money when investing. And so right now, with all this coronavirus and all this COVID-19 crisis, we have seen stocks drop dramatically. We've seen Bitcoin drop dramatically. And so obviously this massive question pops up, Julian, should I be investing right now? Is it a good time, or should I actually be selling? And so what I want to discuss today is exactly those points. And I want to discuss this from as rational a point of view as possible. Now, one thing up front, if it's the first time that you drop by my channel, do me a quick favor, click the subscribe button so you're not going to miss any of those future videos, especially in other lives. And yeah, I think you're going to do yourself a favor. You're going to get a lot of value out of this, hopefully. So without much further ado, let's dive in. And I have my tablet ready here. And yeah, I want to kind of discuss a couple of things here. Most important thing when actually investing, right? So when we discuss investing versus speculating, the most important thing in all this is whenever we are trying to invest, we try to understand value, right? That's the key thing. So the most important thing in investing is you try to buy something under its value. So when value is here, you try to get the price below. That's the key thing. In speculation, you don't know. You don't care about value. All you're doing is you're just buying something and hoping it goes up. And so the way I kind of try to describe it is actually how Warren Buffett always discusses this. He calls this Mr. Market. I call this kind of this crazy monkey. And so this crazy monkey sits there and holds up prices, right? And so he sits there and kind of, I don't know, like, let's make this little monkey here. It looks more like human, I know. We're not too much different anyways. And so it holds up this price here, right? And so people look at this monkey, and this monkey kind of holds up prices, and the price then moves like this. And people always try to guess what's going to be the next day's price or the next week's price. And that's more the speculation kind of side. So people don't really think much. They only focus on this price movement here. They try to do this with chart analytics. They try to do this with looking and then guessing or shilling. And it happens the same thing over. So you have this in stocks, you have this in crypto, man, you have this everywhere. But so now as soon as you discuss value, you understand that as long as you can guess long-term enough, right? And you can calculate this and you can have a certain amount of confidence, whatever number this monkey is holding up at a certain point in time. Now, obviously, the longer you have, the easier it is. The easier for you it is to guess, is this price ever going to show up? And so this is the major thing that you need to kind of consider, right? So you need to kind of come up with this value button. And so whenever you talk about cash flow, it's actually quite easy because you have this discounted cash flow analysis. Most investors actually use this. You have Buffett who kind of does a lot of his own extra thing, but so with this thing, you try to get some value. And obviously for startups, you have a whole different is a whole different game. And then obviously you have those things that don't cash flow. So for example, Bitcoin and gold. And so all these things, they don't really cash flow. So the major question is, what's the value of those things? And this is actually quite a tricky one. It's so tricky that investors like Warren Buffett say it's not possible to price. It's pure gambling, pure speculation. And that's why he doesn't invest in those things at all. Because for him, it's not possible to know what this monkey is holding up as a price, right? And so that's a very key concept. Now, understand the following. 99% of all people speculate. They have no freaking clue what's going to be the prices along the way. They just hope, they gamble, they guess, and a very small amount actually think about what is current value. So when we look at what happened basically, then we had this trend at the moment in Bitcoin, we had the same trend in stocks and so on, and suddenly there was a massive disruption down. And this is basically what happened with COVID-19. And it happened globally. And so now obviously the question is, we're sitting here, and actually if you check back, we're now 3 years back with stocks, with Bitcoin, we're back a bit less than a year, actually around half a year or something. And so the question is it now very interesting to kind of invest, or are we actually going further down? And basically these are the main two questions. But actually these are really bad questions, because the only question you need to ask yourself is, whatever you want to buy, what is its value? Because if whatever you want to buy is worth $10, so you're fairly certain that the monkey at some point is going to show up $10 because that's what it's worth, as long as this thing right now has a very attractive price, you should be buying it. You should be buying it no matter if you think this is going to keep going down or not, because you don't know. No one knows, right? You cannot catch the bottom. And that's one of the most important things. Don't try to catch the bottom. Losers try to catch the bottom and the top. Really good investors, they try to calculate value and grab an attractive price. And that's, I think, one of the key things you should be doing at the moment, is actually dollar cost averaging into whatever you want to get into. Don't do the mistake of going all in. Dollar cost average into this right now. Very, very key, because otherwise you're grabbing a falling knife, and this can be very, very dangerous, right? So dollar cost average into whatever you're trying to dollar cost average in. And now obviously the question is, what do you dollar cost average in? Now the very first question is, should you be dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin? And I did. I do. And the question, obviously, do it only if you think the value right now is higher than the price. You need to do your own calculation. Now, you can read my book called Cryptocurrencies Explained Simply. I discuss in great lengths on what I consider the price and at a value, and in a short format. You can read the book. It's linked down below. Basically, the long format of it is, it has a lot to do with digital gold, and I'm very, very confident it is kind of digital gold. And that's why I'm very confident right now the price is lower than its value. Now, the key thing, I wouldn't go all in. Dollar cost averaging, I think that's key. Now, obviously, the other part, the next question is gold. Well, the question is gold under its value? Is the price under its value? And for me, again, I think so. I think so. I think they're very interesting buys right now, right? Now, let's keep going. Let's discuss real estate. Well, real estate, I don't think so. I think real estate is something I wouldn't be buying right now. I'm actually expecting real estate's value to be lower than the prices right now. You can see this with the yield and so on. So, but let's see, right? I think the same is the case for bonds. I'm very, very certain that right now bonds are going to struggle going forward. Would I not go into bonds at all? No, I think you should hold some, but I think the key as a general portfolio is important. Obviously, an interesting one is cash. And obviously, cash has been the place to be over the last month. Going forward, the question is going to be, what do we see? Do we see deflation? Do we see neutral environment? Do we see an inflationary environment, right? And obviously, in a deflationary and a neutral environment, it can be very interesting to hold cash. Obviously, as soon as you go into an inflationary environment, you want to get out of cash as quick as possible. Very, very key. And we can do separate video on this. You can let me know in the comments if this is actually something that interests you. But I've been thinking a lot about those parts. And well, now let's get to the interesting one. Let's go to stocks. Now, obviously, stocks gotten hammered. We're down, I think, minus 35% right now from the top. I think if we go down another 15% in total from the top, we are like, I mean, we went down minus 50%. We are at great financial crisis 2008 levels, like from the relative. So, man, that's going to be interesting. So now, obviously, you have two different kind of types of, let's say you have three types of stocks right now, right? You have those that were shit and they're even shittier right now, right? So they were shit prior, so they were the ones who didn't cash flow. They were like just leveraging up. They were just shit freaking companies, right? And they were just there because money was so cheap. And these are obviously the ones you don't want to be in anyways. Now, the other one was they're actually good companies, but now they're doing really bad. And these are the typical airlines, these are airports, these are travel companies, hotels, these are like supermarket and restaurants and so on. So all those that get hammered. Now, these can actually be very cheap right now. The question is just, what's the value of those things? And that's a very, very interesting one because we don't really know what's the value. Now, you can say, hey, they went down 80%, so they're cheap. they're cheap in price, but the question is, how cheap are they in relation to wait, let me just show that from JJ Venezuela so that the comment is shown. Okay, this was a mistake. Wait, 1 second, German. Ewald, du hast gerade eine Nachricht vom JJ Valenzuela geblockt, die eigentlich gepasst hat, gerade zur Information. Okay, so the question there is, how shit are those stocks right now? And will they ever recover? And so here are a couple of questions. Yeah, JJ Venezuela asks, what about banks? And I think this is a really, really good question because banks also gotten hammered. And there's a lot of people who think that banks have done well or are going to be doing well. And there's some people who say banks fall into this category. That's a difficult one, right? I'm not the bank expert. And additionally, I'm not really that optimistic about banks in general. And then obviously you had good companies who are still doing well. They're still doing well. And now you have two options in my opinion. Here, if you invest in those, right? You need to kind of hope for stimulus from the outside. You need to hope that Boeing gets bought out. You need to hope that United Airlines, American Airlines, and so on are being supported. You need to hope that the COVID-19 crisis kind of goes away. And if you manage to kind of do that, or if they manage to do it, man, you can make some serious money, right? So there's another thing that falls under there are mortgage-backed REITs, for example. You can look at those. Man, they're down minus 60, minus 70%, right? You have airlines, obviously banks also fall under this, and so on. And so if you feel that there's massive support there, you can make some serious money. And for me, these are not the types of deals that I like to be doing. I just don't like this. Because for me, it's so difficult to calculate these companies. Now, if you're Warren Buffett and you can really analyze those things, man, you're gonna get some really massive discount. Plus, Buffett is gonna go and he's gonna lobby his way into stimulus and he's gonna lobby his way into making sure that these companies are gonna be bought out or gonna be supported. See 2008, I mean, all his companies, they were safe. And he is the master when it comes to that. A lot of people underestimate how powerful he is there, right? Now, I don't have this power, and so for me, I don't like the gambling part here. Now, if you can do some good math, you're gonna win. I'm way more on this kind of side here. Now, these companies didn't go down as much, right? So these are not the companies that went down minus 60, minus 70%. These are generally the companies that were doing well before. Many of them are tech companies. Many of them are actually quite innovative. These are the companies that are being used on a daily basis, right? So you're using them right now. I'm using them on a regular basis. And these companies maybe went down minus 20, maybe minus 25%. So they didn't get destroyed, right? They're just down. They're down less than the index and so on. And I'm someone who wanted to buy these companies prior and thought, man, these companies were expensive. Now they're not expensive. Now they're just fairly priced, right? So now they're just probably at a bit lower under than the value. But they're, in my opinion, coming out of this crisis, it's very certain that these companies are doing really, really well. I'm not going to make as much money as if I got it right here, but I'm just someone who prefers the rather safe than sorry, right? And that's just me. I don't like losing money. For me, I prefer only making 10% a year rather than maybe making 30, but maybe I'll make minus 10. And so that's just me. And you need to find your own style because here I can actually calculate the value. I'm fairly certain they didn't lose much value because actually they've been used crazily. They need to hire more people right now. They're all over the news because everyone's using them. They actually have problems filling all the orders and so on, right? And so that's just what I like to use. And I feel that going out of this crisis, they're just going to be doing better. But so obviously, this is the key question. No one knows. But so these are just the different kind of things that I would kind of focus on going into all this. Yeah, with this, I hope you kind of get a bit of my understanding and a bit of my ideas. Let me know if you have any questions on that. Let me just see that the camera goes a bit proper. And yeah, if you have any other questions, then always let me know in the comments. I'll definitely get back to you and answer those. Let me just go to some. I still wouldn't touch semiconductors and chips right here. Yeah, there's a lot of those shit companies. What about tech stocks? So I didn't buy Facebook, I didn't buy Intel, I didn't buy Nvidia. To me, Facebook is such a one-dimensional company right now when it comes to revenue. To me, that's a bit scary. I don't like that. I mean, obviously they're doing strong and they're probably gonna do well. But look, if I compare Facebook with an Alphabet, holy crap, like Alphabet is out of this world when it comes to the next 10 years. I mean, Alphabet runs way more like a fund. People tend to forget that. They're way more, they have this one cash cow, which is called ads, but actually funneling all this money into this huge amount of different companies. Yeah. Look at how Amazon is holding strong. I completely agree. Are you concerned about bailouts? I read some airlines were looking for bailouts of 60 billion. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna happen. I can't judge which ones, right? Yeah, Shopify, Apple, they're doing really well. Exactly. Julian, you as a Singapore citizen, do you believe the Chinese virus data at all? Apparently 4 days without new sick ones. Holger, I think China is not off. You know, are they really gonna have zero? Maybe they don't have exactly zero, but I'm very certain that they actually have very low numbers. So I actually believe them. Because we see it all over Asia. Asia has been holding up very, very fine. I mean, Japan, Korea, Singapore, Hong Kong. I mean, yeah, of course, China could be lying about a few, but it's definitely, like, they're definitely doing well. And we can see it. I mean, otherwise Apple wouldn't have opened. Starbucks wouldn't have opened. And Starbucks is not lying about opening stores. You know what I mean? And they are on the ground. So, yeah, I'm quite optimistic about it. Cool. With this, thanks so much, everyone. Let's cut it off at that. Let's keep it sweet and short. See you at the next one. If you don't want to miss anything, click the subscribe button, and I'll see you at one of the next videos. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a good one. Stay safe, stay healthy. Yours truly, Julian. Bye-bye.